I'd say confidence is number one.
Basketball. Round one of the NBA draft is tonight. The Bucks don't have a pick until tomorrow night in the second round. NFL, former Packers and Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers is now with the Steelers and was on the McAfee show asked, will this be his final year?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. That's why we just did a one-year deal. Steelers didn't need to put any extra years on that or anything. So, this was really about finishing with a lot of love and fun and peace. Great guys in the city that, expects you to win.
That's Aaron Rodgers with Sports on Mike Clemens.
As Wisconsin is cheering on Bucky Badger. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Waves of showers and thunderstorms with pockets of heavy rain, some breaks in between. Low tonight, low 60s. High tomorrow, upper 60s. Temps climb for the rest of the week and weekend. Mid-70s Friday, 80s for the weekend. Currently at 64 degrees.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Indy Dadagupta, he is with the Center for Law and Social Policy.
The Trump administration's agenda is reducing economic growth. The programs that they're proposing cutting, like Medicaid and SNAP, especially for kids, actually more than pay for themselves. So we are really looking at a tough long-term economic outlook entirely created by the current policymakers.
The award-winning Maggie Dawn Show at its new time, weekdays 4 till 6 p.m.
My name is DeMar Hamlin. I play for the Buffalo Bills, and I play safety. CPR saved my life. I've teamed up with the American Heart Association as a national ambassador to help create a nation of lifesavers, turning bystanders into lifesavers through CPR education and access to AEDs. Nearly 3 out of 4 cardiac arrests that don't happen in hospitals happen in homes. Join me to ensure everyone has the chance to live longer, healthier lives. Visit heart.org/nation.
Todd Albaugh.
Hey, everybody, join us next time. We'll take a look at the headlines and the news, including the state budget. Will it actually get done on time? The big win by the Miz and the Brewers, and...
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Light with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood.
Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right.
And now, a guy who likes to dine and dash, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome to Night Light, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Great to have you with me. And it's great to be back on the air. It was a long day in getting back to Green Bay. I was in Madison last night and Monday. Great shows there. Lots of fun. Back on the home court tonight. And wherever we do Nightlight from, it is great to have you along for the ride and contributing to the show as you often do. So I hope everybody is having a great day. And if you didn't, welcome even more. Hopefully we can brighten your day a little bit as we talk about movies and comedy and all the fun stuff in our lives. And we focus on the good. Conrad, how are you?
Hello, it's good to be back.
Yeah. Well, you never went anywhere.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you've been chilling on the home court for since last week. How did it go? How was the Mino and the Mayor stint?
Well, it was a lot of fun with those guys. Waking up at 4 a.m. early morning.
How are they that energetic? Were you did you have to match their energy?
It's because of a lot of caffeine.
Yeah, I would imagine so. What time did you go to bed? What time did you have to get up and be here?
I mean, I was going to sleep at 9:30 every night.
And you can do that. You can just change your schedule?
No, it took 2 days.
Yeah, you're going to bed at 9:30, but not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, the first day, I was hard to fall asleep. So I had to, take a little melatonin.
Oh, really?
And that helps.
Okay.
But I'm always worried that I'm going to oversleep with melatonin because it really gets you.
And that's just an herbal thing, right? That's not like a prescription or anything.
No, you can pick it up at any CVS or Walgreens.
Oh, I thought you needed a guy.
I got my melatonin
guy.
Well,
but it works so fast they have to deliver it as you're laying in bed. Otherwise, if you try to walk home, you'll just keel over. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. We had good shows in Madison. Nightlight did well in Madison. It was fun to work and meet Dom, and Aaron Zomers is always a joy, and Chris Casper. We went out last night. I bought those guys a drink because that's the kind of guy I am. They
You never
filled
bought
in.
me a drink before.
Well, this is your job, dude. You get paid. If you had to stay extra, I would. No, I'm just kidding. But their world gets not thrown into upheaval, but they go the extra mile to
Yes,
accommodate
definitely.
me and
Yeah.
us when I'm there. So it's just a nice. But we went to Paul's Club, right next to the studio. I bought those guys like one drink, and I had a club soda, and the bill was $34.
Well, what kind of drinks were they?
I don't know what the hell Casper ordered. I think Dom had like a rum and Coke. What is that? $8 max in a classic Madison bar. Even it's maybe that much.
When that was my go-to drink.
I remember you saying that.
And when I was a college student, didn't have much money. I'd go, rail,
of course,
rum, and still it would still be like $10
at a college bar.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
yes,
nuts.
And then you leave a little tip too, so that if they see you, they'll come back.
And I tipped the guy pretty generously. I don't, I'm not one of those people that gets like annoyed and doesn't tip because the guy was cool. It was just a bar. You're supposed to tip a bartender 10%, I think. I always typically double the tip of what's expected if the service wasn't terrible. And this guy was pretty cool, and he gave me my club soda. Maybe the club soda was like $9. It was good club soda.
Was it?
I'm not gonna
All
lie.
right.
Yeah.
I never taste the difference between any club soda.
Yeah, well, you're not a connoisseur like me.
I guess.
Great show tonight, folks. I'm very excited about tonight's show because one of my favorite places in Northeast Wisconsin is Door County. And one of the best things Door County has to offer is Peninsula Players in Fish Creek. If you have not been to a show at Peninsula Players, I highly recommend it. Tonight at 6:35, we're going to talk to Linda Fortunato. She is the artistic director or creative director, I think, at Peninsula Players. She'll tell us what's coming up this summer. They have already started their season, but we're going to learn about what they have to offer the rest of the season. And it's funny, Peninsula Players, I used to go there in high school. Our drama teacher at Marinette Catholic Central had a relationship with someone at Peninsula Players from back when she was like a New York actress or something. And she used to take us there, and we used to help them get ready for their season and rake up and clean. They have this great lodge there where the actors can hang out. And they had these little cabins, and we would help them clean and get ready for their season because they would loan us props and stuff throughout the year. And I remember it was always a fun time. I think I went 2 or 3 times in my 4 years in high school. And so going back there now, though, if you have not been to see a show at Peninsula Players, their facilities are gorgeous. When I was there in high school, it was like a pavilion. It was like a picnic shelter almost. They had a nice smattering of seats and a great stage, but it was truly outdoors. Now they have sections that you can close off on rainy nights or if it's buggy, and it is an absolutely beautiful facility. So we'll talk a little bit about that with Linda Fortunato. She'll be here at 6:35. And then we have a new friend, Conrad, Katie Compton, who is the creative. I'm getting my intros mixed up. Katie works at the Mulva Cultural Center. And, every time I hear the word Mulva, I think of Seinfeld.
So today I started going to this new gym. It's a YMCA, and it's in De Pere, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's a great facility. But after that, I was like, I'm going to try something new. So I went for a walk in De Pere, and right in front of the water and the bridge is the Mulva Cultural Center. It's beautiful there.
It looks stunning. Did you go inside?
No, not today. I do want to go in. It's such a neat looking facility. I got to check it out.
I was looking just on the website. I haven't been there in person either, but I'm definitely going now. I didn't know this facility or there was something like this in Green Bay. They have one of the only Samsung Onyx movie screens. There's only like 3 in the country. It's like Houston, LA, and De Pere. And I'm very excited to talk about this. They have these great like spy exhibits where kids get to solve crimes and be spies. And it's just very interactive, but they have great movies, great exhibits. We'll talk all about the Mulva Cultural Center at 7:20 tonight. Katie Compton is coming into the studio, correct?
Yes,
yeah,
yes, she is.
It'll be nice to meet Katie and hear all about Mulva. And then Man, I don't even know where to start. We got some catching up to do, but I will say this. We have a great question tonight, so lots of chances for you guys to be part of the show. And I don't know, I drove up from Madison today. It was another one of those, like, why people don't. First of all, the day started with me waking up at 7:30 this morning. And guess what woke me up? At the Concourse Hotel in Madison. Downtown Madison, a business hotel, lots of politicians, a few radio hosts. And 7:30 in the morning, a dog is barking.
Yeah. You told me that before, and I didn't even know that they allowed animals in that hotel.
I don't like hotels that allow animals. And I love animals, but I have allergies.
Yeah.
And there have been times where I stayed in a room, I know a dog or a cat was in there. But this dog had the most annoying bark. It was like a lap dog. Like maybe Paris Hilton was in the next room or something. His dog was like, arf, arf, arf. It was, oh my God, I just wanted to step on this thing. It wasn't like it was like that annoying. And I started conjuring up this image of who owned this dog and who I just wanted to go over and yell at because it barked, I bet, for 10 minutes straight. And you're not getting back to sleep after that.
No. It was like your alarm clock this morning.
Yeah, 3 hours too early. 3 hours.
Well, yeah, you said that you stayed up again to 3 a.m.
I did. One of the Bourne movies was on last night, and it's so hard to go to sleep when there's a good movie on. And then I'm driving up here, and there's a trailer swerving. Like, the trailer's hooked up to the car, and the car is fine, but the trailer's going into my lane and then this lane. It's like you're playing a video game. It's like, do I pass it now? Or you got to wait and time it so, like, the trailer sways into your lane and then goes the other way, and then you got to gun it.
I had kind of the same experience the other day. There was a truck carrying a camper.
Yeah.
And then in the back of the camper, there was this huge, like, bike, like, circle. I don't know how to, like, it was just all these bikes together, like, in a circle, all tied together.
Circle.
There was like 6 of them.
Huh.
And it was shaking so hard. And I thought I was going to be in Final Destination with those. I thought the bikes were going to fall off and come right to me.
Here's my issue. Like, those racks and these people, like, I don't know if this guy's like, well, one of the hookups is broken, but I'm sure it'll be fine. People are like that. And you don't realize, you're endangering other people's lives. But I was just driving, trying to get around this thing.
So did you gun it?
Oh, I gunned it. I gunned my hybrid, and I got around it. It only took me a day and a half. But, hey, let's get to our question of the night, because then Conrad has a funny story about needles that I can't wait to join in on. It's the Civic Media Nightlight with Pete Schwaba question of the night.
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question.
Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Okay, I have a question. Questions? This question.
Domanda.
Question.
Questions.
What celebrities fall from grace were you most bummed out by? Who had the world on a string and then just did something stupid or evil or whatever, and it ruined their career and it shattered you? What celebrities fall from grace were you most bummed out by? 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Let us know your answer, and I will read your text on the radio. You can also text us on the app, or if you're watching on the stream on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, X Twitter, you can text us on the stream there too. I would have to say the first celebrity, like when you hear that question and you don't give it serious thought, like what's the first celebrity that comes to your mind?
Kanye West.
Oh.
I'm not bummed out about it, to be honest, now, but I mean, I really liked his music when, in his first stages of making music. It was great. And like whatever is going through his head now, like
right.
It's crazy.
That's a good one, because he was really talented. I mean, I'm not necessarily a fan of his music, but my kids, like my son, swears like, oh, Kanye West was a genius when his first few albums.
Was great music.
And it's funny, I go Michael Jackson. It's hard. It's the guy has so many great songs. And I don't know if it was ever truly revealed what exactly happened with him and the kids, but it was inappropriate, whether it was actual molestation. I don't know what it was. I don't know what they had decided. But man, that bummed me out. And having said that, when Smooth Criminal comes on, forget it. I'm still listening, and I'm ashamed that I am because I don't want to support people who supposedly did these horrible things. Now he's gone, and it's his fault. The other night I got to Madison and I parked, and there was no parking for like 5 miles because at the Overture Center they had the Michael Jackson show that night, and it was like people were flying in from all over the world. So I would say Michael Jackson is mine. So Conrad says Kanye. I say Michael Jackson. What do you, the listener, the couch potato, what do you say? It's kind of a bummer of a question, actually, but I'm fascinated by it. Like people that, it's a pro baseball pitcher, John Campanella used to do a joke about Steve Howe. And his joke was like, I got $4 million a year. I got a beautiful wife and some kids in a house. How do I mess this up? And he goes out and takes drugs or whatever. But addiction is different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But I think it's a good question. We could have fun with this. When we come back, Conrad is going to tell us a story about needles. And I kind of have one too. So that's coming up next. And we'll read your texts on a really fun night planned here at Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
But if you feel like I feel, please let me know that it's real. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you.
Into the talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Todd Allball Show.
Remembering Vietnam, brought to you by The Dispensary.
One night they blew up the mess hall. Another night they hit the motor pool and tried to blow up all the trucks. They set charges around the guard tower at least once. It didn't seem like they had one specific target, really. They just wanted to destroy and kill anybody they could. There was one night we were up at the tower firing, and I saw a B-40 rocket heading towards us. I could see the sparks trailing. I was firing in that direction and thinking, okay, I'm dead. I'm dead. There were 3 of us up there firing, and I expected all of us to be killed. We kept firing, and nothing happened. The next day, we did an inspection, and there's that rocket embedded in the sandbags below us. It could have taken off the top of the bunker and killed us like nothing. They were that powerful. Mike Brzezinski, United States Army, Vietnam.
Hear this full story at WGBW.FM. Click on Remembering Vietnam. Brought to you by The Dispensary. Online at the8dispensary.com.
Timeout.
All right. Remember, we're a team that plays together. Listen, the winning will take care of itself. We just have to get everyone involved.
In interscholastic sports, we celebrate what makes every one of us unique. And in the pursuit of a common goal, everyone in the huddle, in the bleachers, and in the community comes together. This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
Hey Wisconsin, it's construction season, and the Wisconsin DOT wants to help you safely navigate work zones. Check 511wi.gov or download the app for roadwork or closures on your route. Know before you go with 511 Wisconsin. Sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
You've been waiting, and now it's time for Turn It Up Rock Camp's 2025 Showcase. It's Amanda with another new Wisco 411 for you, brought to you by Area 509 in Appleton. And you can head to Harper Hall in Appleton on Friday at 6 p.m. and hear what the Turn It Up Rock campers have been working on for an entire week, preparing for the showcase, like writing an original song, developing their band sound, and learning the tech side of performances. A $10 donation is suggested for entry, but if you don't have it, you won't be turned away. Head to WGBW.FM and click events to find out.
Welcome back to Nightlight, folks. I am your host for this evening's tomfoolery, Pete Schwaba. Great to have you with me. I am back in Green Bay tonight. Riding shotgun is Conrad Krieger. You know him. You love him as the K-Man.
Hello.
So I was impressed that you texted the show even though you weren't working. You went that extra mile.
Yeah, I like the questions that you came up with.
Something inspired me to make even better questions. And I'm not saying it wasn't because you were there. I'm just saying.
I'm the reason the questions are better.
So we've got Linda Fortunato, folks. She is the artistic director of Peninsula Players in Door County. She will be here at 6:35 talking about their lineup this summer. They do such great work. I went to 2 productions last year and had an absolute blast. And then at 7:20 p.m. in the second hour, Katie Compton will be here from the Mulva Cultural Center here in, the Green Bay area in De Pere, technically. Our question of the night is, what celebrities fall from grace were you most bummed out by? During the break, I did Google because I was having trouble. Pete Rose is another one. He had a hard fall from grace. Tanya Harding, lots of good candidates on the Google. Mike Tyson, but I think Tyson kind of came back. And I just did a Hollywood beat on Tatum O'Neal. The youngest Oscar winner ever at 10 years old, had serious drug problems. Again, I don't even think drugs... Well, a fall from grace is a fall from grace. Drugs do count. But that's, I guess, a little more tragic than some of the other ones. But also receiving votes, Paul Hornung. Did Paul Hornung... Do you know what that's about? I don't know enough. He was before my time.
I didn't know
I don't
he
know
had
what he did. Dwight Gooden, Daryl Strawberry, Pete Rose... Kirby Puckett. Oh, he had violence with his wife. Oh, man, that's terrible. I loved Kirby Puckett. Of course, Joe Jackson from the Black Sox scandal. O.J. Simpson, yes, another. Man, that guy had, talk about having the world on a string. Phenomenal running back. Goes on to star in Hollywood movies like The Naked Gun. He's a color commentary guy, spokesperson for Hertz or Avis or one of those rental car companies. I said Michael Jackson. Conrad said Kanye West. So let's go to the social media answers. Lisa M. Hale, our pal Lisa Hale.
Yeah.
Who gave us, she shunned us this Friday. I asked her to come on the show and promote her own show. She said, no thanks, Schwaba.
Wow. All right.
She did have plans. Lisa says Joss Whedon. See, now we're going to have to Google a lot of these because there's probably scandals I don't even know about because I don't follow like the gossip rags that much. But I do remember there was something with Joss Whedon. So, Conrad, if you could go to the Google. Amanda Nimmer says Lisa M. Hale, which also leads me to say Nicholas Brendan. Don't know who that is either. Amanda Nimmer says Lisa M. Hale. Second to this. Rich Tallarico, our pal, says Judas. Yeah, that's a big one.
All right.
He messed up. Amanda Nimmer also says Ryan Reynolds. Oh, man, do I agree with that. I am so sick of this guy selling all of his products, being a passable actor at best.
I'm sick of that one. The one, like, it's a bank or something that invests coins every time you pay for something. You know
Mint.
what I'm talking? Yeah, Mint. I
Enough.
absolutely
I know.
hate that ad. Every time I watch YouTube, I get one of those ads.
It's so awful. I'm with you. I don't like the Mint ads either, and I don't like Ryan Reynolds. I used to like him, and now I just feel like he's just a personality in movies. He's not even really an actor. So we'll read more of your text later. I want to get to this, folks. Conrad, tell us why you did not go to your doctor's appointment today.
Well, you know, I'm a little scared of needles, and I was supposed to get blood drawn.
Yeah.
And the idea of it scared the living daylights out of me. And I've had this appointment planned for about 2 months.
Okay.
And I every time I thought about it, I'm like, why am I doing this? It's because I'm going off my parents' insurance. I want to make sure everything's good.
I hear you.
I still chickened out today.
Because you had to get blood drawn.
Yeah, I just can't do it.
You know, it's funny. I never, like when I was younger, I was not as cool as I am now. I was much more macho, trying to be that, I want to watch the needle go in. And now I am the biggest wimp in the world. I don't want to feel, I hate them. I hate needles.
Yeah.
I can't even do heroin anymore. It's like, no, I'm serious. And I would rather, if someone said we need to draw blood, I would rather say, punch me in the face and get whatever blood you can. I'd rather have that than a needle.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
I'm with you.
I agree.
It's terrible. Do you ever get to, like, when you go to those appointments where they're going to draw blood? I used to have to do this for my wife, has our insurance through her work. They would say fast for 10 hours, and then come in and we'll draw blood. So you don't get to eat. Then they stick a needle in you. And then, but what cracked me up was they always had food right outside the door when you come out of getting the blood drawn. Like, it's been 10 hours, folks. We're not refugees. We're not starving somewhere. But people go to the snacks like an apple or a Nutri-Grain bar or yogurt or something, like they're starving.
Yeah. They didn't tell me to fast or anything like that, so I don't know if they need to.
Oh, you're supposed. I think before they draw blood, you're always supposed to fast.
So I wasn't even. I wouldn't have been able to do it because I didn't fast.
What would you rather have them draw blood? Would you rather have them do the needle or take like a serrated blade out and give you a quick slit like you're in prison or something? That might be better than a needle, actually.
Neither. I'll take neither.
Of course. Of course not. Fun show tonight, folks. After the news, Linda Fortunato, she's the artistic director for the Peninsula Players in Door County, will be here telling us about their summer lineup. And then Katie Compton, who is the marketing director of the Mulva Center here in beautiful downtown Green Bay. De Pere. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk to Katie and get to know her a little bit. And we'll read some more of your texts, too. That is all happening on tonight's show. I know it doesn't sound possible, but it is. This is Pete Schwaba and Night Light on the Civic Media Radio Network.
A teardrop start, and it breaks my heart. When a teardrop falls, I wanna cry, cry, cry along. When you feel
Tom Hartman here. You're listening to 97.9 WGBW.
As Wisconsin as a fish fry on a Friday night, this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. A Republican state lawmaker is sponsoring a constitutional amendment to introduce term limits on elected state positions. State Representative Duke Tucker of Grantsburg says the constitutional amendment would limit elected officials to serving 8 years in a single position. That would mean term limits of 2 years for a 4-year position like governor or state senator, and 4 terms for state representatives who serve 2-year terms. The constitutional amendment would need to pass in consecutive legislative sessions before it appears as a ballot referendum. A new YMCA is coming to New Wisco, to Waushara County to be exact. A groundbreaking ceremony was held yesterday in Wautoma for the YMCA that will feature fitness facilities, programs for older adults, childcare, and more. The Waushara County YMCA is a satellite of the Stevens Point YMCA and is funded in part by a $4.25 million state grant. The rest of the $15 million needed will come from donations. Officials expect the YMCA to open in the fall of 2026. Be on the lookout for turtles. That comes from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources as turtles come ashore to lay their eggs over the next few weeks. DNR officials say there are 11 species of turtles in the state that will be laying their eggs in shallow nests through the end of June. Some of the nests could be buried in residential yards, occasionally forcing the turtles to cross busy roadways. Residents should be on the lookout for turtles near lakes, rivers, and swamps, and share any turtle sightings with the Department of Natural Resources. From local news to what's going on around the state, Civic Media's mission is to bring you real news and great conversation. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. Log on to WGBW.FM.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Guys, there is hope. Courtney Thorne-Smith is divorcing her husband of 18 years, so she is finally available again. The star of Melrose Place, Ally McBeal, and the volleyball classic Side Out had been separated from her agent husband, Roger Fishman, since 2021, and says they are divorcing due to irreconcilable differences. Good luck, fellas. Actress Tatum O'Neal and ex-husband and tennis star John McEnroe were together for the first time at their son Kevin's wedding in California. The couple divorced after 8 years of marriage in 1994, but has 3 kids together. McEnroe is a 7-time Grand Slam tennis champ who always struggled with his temper, and O'Neal is the youngest Oscar winner ever, having won at 10 years old for Paper Moon. Kevin's wedding was a more traditional ceremony. The couple apparently thought about just getting married in front of a judge, but was probably worried that McEnroe would have a conniption fit if the judge said something he disagreed with. For more showbiz fun, tune into Night Light with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
as Wisconsin as a game of cribbage with good friends. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Waves of showers and thunderstorms with pockets of heavy rain, some breaks in between. Low tonight, low 60s. High tomorrow, upper 60s. Temps climb for the rest of the week and weekend. Mid 70s Friday, 80s for the weekend. Currently at 64 degrees.
The Todd Albaugh Show.
The Joint Finance Committee was leaked that they intend to cut $87 million from the UW system budget. And so we put this out on our socials last night, and today the Joint Finance Committee decided to pull that from the agenda. Because apparently, from what I'm told, Republican legislators got a lot of calls. When the truth is disseminated and people react, results can happen.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Matt and Air on Air.
From articles that I have seen, if you are a bagel purist, you should not toast your bagel. I think nothing's better than a toasted bagel and a schmear.
Folks, can we have a moment of honesty? Do you really like bagels, or do you like the schmear that is transported by them? Get rid of the stigma. If I walk into this room eating cream cheese out of a tub with a spoon.
Why is that wrong?
Matt and Air on Air, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. The Dr. Kristen Lyerly Show.
Reproductive rights isn't just for women.
This is Nightlight, folks. I am Pete Schwaba. Great to have you with me on this gorgeously rainy evening in downtown Green Bay. I hope it's nicer, whatever part of the state you're listening in, or part of the world if you're listening over the stream or on the app. It's great to have you, and what a perfect night to listen to the radio. Our question of the night is, what celebrity's fall from grace were you most bummed out by? I say Michael Jackson. Conrad says Kanye West. We've heard all kinds of great answers so far. Joss Whedon. And what did you say? You looked that up, but it was inappropriate set.
It was allegations around misconduct and abuse on his sets.
Yes, okay. Rich Tallarico says Judas. That's a great one. Our pal Rich, and our pal Amanda says Ryan Reynolds, and I agree with that too. We've got a lot of text to get to. We'll do that soon. But right now, it is my pleasure to welcome back to Nightlight someone, a distinguished actor and creative artistic director for the Peninsula Players. Folks, there is a treasure here in Northeast Wisconsin, right up the road here from Green Bay in the Fish Creek area, and it is called Peninsula Players. If you haven't checked it out, you absolutely have to. And joining us now is the artistic director for Peninsula Players, Miss Linda Fortunato. Hello, Linda.
Hello, nice to see you or hear you.
Yeah, well, we can see each other. It's kind of like a broadcast here. It's a little bit like television. Thank you for taking time out. I know you guys are like in the throes of your new season right now. When did that start, by the way? Did it start in early June?
We actually opened our season last Tuesday, so June 17th was the first performance. Okay. Yep, so we're in week 2 of the season.
So we're kind of on top of it here. That's a relief. So you were here last year, but for those people who might not remember that interview or familiar with your work, tell us a little bit about your background before you got to Northeast Wisconsin here.
Sure. So I started as a performer. When I was in college, my pursuit was acting, but I also studied musical theater and dance and studied directing and choreography. So fresh out of college, I moved to Chicago and started working as a performer and eventually as a choreographer and a director. During that time, I spent my first season in amazing Door County, Wisconsin, at the Peninsula Players, and loved it so much that I just kept coming back and doing a lot of different jobs here. Following that trajectory of my career, started as a performer, started choreographing here, started directing here, and now I'm thrilled to be the artistic director.
So you have a long history. You came up here and did shows in the summer. when you were younger or back in the day. So that's how it started for you? That's so cool.
That's right. That's exact. Yep. Had heard of the theater, heard how much everyone loved it, went to an audition, was lucky enough to get cast, and that's how it all started.
Let me ask you, where did you audition for a show at Peninsula Players? Did the auditions take place elsewhere? I know the actors come from other places. Where did the audition happen?
The audition that I attended happened in Chicago, and
Okay.
we employ performers that are members of Actors Equity Association, the Actors
Yeah.
and Stage Managers Union. And according to the rules of our agreement, we have to have our auditions either in Chicago or New York. And then we are allowed to have additional auditions other places, but we're required to have an audition there. So every year we have an audition in Chicago, and we also have an audition in Milwaukee every year in December.
Nice. I have to ask you this because I've been taking my daughter to shows there. She's a musical theater student at Stevens Point and has been obsessed with it her whole life. And so it got me thinking when she was much younger, I'm like, I wonder if they ever just audition people here or not even necessarily audition, but has anyone from the area ever approached you and said, I want to do this, or how do I get involved with this?
Yes. And, on a personal level, I very frequently get to talk with young people or even not as young people who want to maybe try it out.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, because we are a professional theater and we do have a relationship with the Actors Union, the vast majority of the people on our stage do have to be members of that union.
Sure.
But depending on the size of the show, sometimes if we have a large enough cast, we are allowed to use non-union members. And in that case, yes, we have some relationships with some local performers, both members of the union and not, that have been on our stage multiple times.
That's so great. And I just remembered that I used to think that because, when you grow up in Chicago or New York or maybe even Milwaukee to a lesser extent, and you're around it, you can grow up sleeping and breathing theater. And I was just wondering if that had happened in Little Door County there. That's so fun. So how did you, so tell us about, or I asked you about your background. I'm sorry. So when you started performing there, I told the story earlier when I was kind of setting the lineup for the show. When I was in high school, I went to high school right across the bay in Marinette. And our theater director had a relationship with someone at Peninsula Players. They used to, I don't think they did theater in New York together or something. And Peninsula Players would loan us props and stuff for our sets and stuff like that. So to pay them back, our teacher, Mrs. Disjardin, Jan Disjardin, would put us all in a couple vans. We'd drive over there, get to stay in the dorms, rake, clean that really cool lodge you guys have over there. And then we would run around the woods until 5 o'clock in the morning. It was an absolute blast. She didn't know about that part, but it was so much fun. But when I first went back there a few years ago, I was amazed at how different it is than 30 years ago. It was basically a picnic shelter theater. It had a pavilion.
That's right.
And a stage, and now it is this gorgeous facility. Can you talk a little bit about how the grounds and the theater itself have transformed since you've been going there to now?
Yeah. So, as you said, the theater itself is new. It was built in 2006, and which, in terms, I guess that doesn't sound brand new, but in the life of a theater building, it's still new. But everyone who planned that building did such a beautiful job of putting it on exactly the same footprint as the previous theater. And even though it is a new state-of-the-art modern building, they kept some of the great charm. When it is bad weather or really cold, you're inside the theater, you feel like you are completely enclosed in a regular building. Most of the summer, we are able to open the side walls of the theater. So you do get breeze coming through. Depending on where you're seated in the theater, you can even see the bay from where you're sitting or see into the woods. So they did a really amazing job of still capturing that natural feeling. The fact that, our slogan, I guess, is theater in a garden, and it still very much is that. Over time, those old dormitories that you stayed in
Yeah.
had seen better days. And, we had people working long hours, and we all as an organization realized that we needed a better place for people to live. And so 3 years ago, we built 2 new dormitory buildings that people have indoor plumbing, which is, something that we all think is important. We had indoor plumbing before, but you had to leave your sleeping quarters and walk outside to a separate building to go to the bathroom.
Right.
And that's not the case anymore. They're temperature controlled, they're comfortable. And so some of those original old dorm buildings were torn down, which, the nostalgia in us is a little sad about that, but also, we needed to make space for happily more patrons, so we expanded the parking lot without taking down trees and, keeping the natural environment as best as possible.
My guest is Linda Fortunato. She is the artistic director of Peninsula Players right here in, just up the road in Door County in the Fish Creek area. You talked about that. I was heartbroken when I got there about 3 years ago, and I was like, oh, the dorms are gone. Like, it was a parking lot now. And
right.
But you have to do that. And the dorms you guys built are beautiful. When did it start? Was it like the 30s, I think? Peninsula Players? Okay.
Yes, 1935 was the first season. And then in 1937, they moved to the property that we are still on. So in 1935, they did 2 seasons in downtown Fish Creek in the Fish Creek Park. But then since 1937, we've been on this same property.
That's so cool. What is the best time of the year for you, in your opinion? Because I've been to shows there in the summer, and then I think it was 2 years ago, I brought the whole family in the fall to see a Sherlock Holmes, kind of a creepy show, and it was fall and it was windy, and you guys had the bonfire going out on the grounds. It was just a magical night. So I think that was probably my favorite trip there. But what is your favorite time to see a show there?
I think I'm biased, but maybe not. Hundreds of people share my opinion. This place is so magical. It kind of doesn't matter when you come. And
True.
I would say to people, try it all the times because, early in the season when it's still a little bit cool at night, like right now, it's all the flowers are full in bloom. You get the full summer experience, but you get the beautiful, cool breeze off the bay. And we do have the bonfire intermission. If you come midsummer, you get that, warmer, summery feel. And like you say, the fall is just hard to beat in Door County as a whole. And having that, you maybe have to snuggle under a blanket for the show and enjoy that bonfire. The outdoor experience of you, like I said, you're indoors seeing a show fully protected from the elements.
Right.
But the lobby is still this beautiful outdoor nature that is just magnificent at any time of year.
And you can bring, like, if you do go see a show in the summer when it's warm enough too, you have all those tables where you can sit by the bay and have wine and cheese before the show, and there's music playing and all these beautiful decorative lights throughout the trees. It's just an absolute experience.
That's right. Yeah. And we invite people to come, the grounds open 90 minutes before the show, and we want people to have that full experience.
I was so glad you guys kept that lodge because we had some really fun times there in high school too. Just that's where we would go to eat breakfast in the morning, and then we would sit around there at night, and it just has such a great feel to it.
We still do. 3 meals a day are served up in that lodge. Yep, for the whole company. Yes.
So how many of the actors that have come through there over the years, I'm sure you guys keep some sort of record, have any of them gone on to theatrical fame or to do big shows in New York or Chicago?
Absolutely. Yes. We have a couple people who are on Broadway right this very minute that have been here. We have quite a few people that are out on national tours. Some people, that have gone on to television and movies. And there's a common bond from people, when you find out, wait, you were at Peninsula Players Theater too? Another thing that we say is once a player, always a player. And it is it's a through line from, from interns and staff and performers. Anyone who has experienced and been part of this company shares a sort of an intangible bond, I think.
Yeah, and it's such a neat mix of people you have. It seems like just from reading the programs, you have people who are right out of college. with older seasoned theater veterans that, probably just want to do a fun show or spend some time in Northeast Wisconsin or whatever it is. It's such a great, diverse group. My guest is Linda Fortunato. She is the Peninsula Players Artistic Director. We're going to do a very short break, and then we'll come back and talk about some of the shows they have coming up for a few more minutes. You got Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Gonna tell you what you can do with my love. All right. Let you know, girl, you're looking good. You're out of sight. All right. Just move yourself. And you glide like a 747. And you lose yourself in the sky. Among the clouds in your heaven cause. Let this groove. I am confused. It's alright. 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 Let this groove. Sing in the shoes.
As Wisconsin as a game of cribbage with good friends. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Insight Eye Care has been serving the Fox Valley for over 30 years and are proud sponsors of Mino and the Mayor's Eye on the Community. Insight offers comprehensive eye care, including glasses and contact lenses. Their doctors have a special interest in treating chronic eye disease, specialty contact lenses, and pediatric care. Find Insight on Sawyer Street in Oshkosh and Chain Drive in Appleton. Visit WIinsight.com to schedule your eye exam. Improving lives by improving sight. Insight Eye Care.
Turn up the summer vibes at Chula Vista Resort, your playground for summer dreams, water parks, and sun-soaked pools. Epic water slides, soaring zip lines, and world-class golf. Dine in the #1 steakhouse in Wisconsin. Chula Vista Resort. Call 1-800-388-4782 or visit chulavistaresort.com.
Chula Vista Resort is one of the top 10 indoor water parks in the USA with 26 water slides over 1.5 miles long. Find out more at chulavistaresort.com.
No more mold, no more damage, no more slipping and hurting. Make your ordinary bathroom extraordinary for only $99 per month. New shower, new door, new tub, new wall, new anti-slip technology. BCI Bath and Shower is made in America for the highest quality. First 50 callers save $1,500 on a never clear glass treated door. BCI Bath and Shower. Interest-free financing options. 800-329-4115. 800-329-4115. 800-329-4115.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. The Army National Guard responds to disasters such as wildfires and floods. They protect us with missile defense, cybersecurity, and civilian support teams for chemical, biological, and radiological hazards. Be there for your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The Todd Albaugh Show.
Joe here in Madison on WMDX about University of Wisconsin system. The legislature looking at cutting $87 million of that.
First off, you deserve incredible kudos for bringing this issue forward.
You're too kind. Thank you.
Led the way. And you've been keeping at this question of the two-year campuses and what does the system mean throughout the time that you've been on radio. And we really appreciate it.
The Todd Albaugh Show. Weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station.
Maybe my favorite day of the week. Oh, top 5. It's Pete Schwaba. Great to have you with me here on the Civic Media Radio Network. Our question of the night is, what celebrities fall from grace were you most bummed out by? Let us know. We will read your texts after the news, after intermission in Act 2. Right now, we have a few more minutes with our current guest, the Artistic Director of Peninsula Players in Door County, Linda Fortunato, has joined us over the stream. Linda, I have to tell you, my daughter, a couple of years ago, I took her to a show called Dames at Sea that you guys did. She was kind of bummed out, and I said, let's go. It's a 2-hour drive. We can get there. And we stopped at Starbucks, and I said, you know the famous song from Dames at Sea, right? And she goes, no, what is it? And I made this up off the top of my head, and I just started singing a song with Dames at Sea was the only. She's like, is that really one of the, like, all of a sudden she was so bummed out that that's what she was going to have to listen to, and I go, no, there's like actual music by professionals, but it was just a great memory that we had. Let's talk about some of your upcoming shows. You guys have a lot of classics this summer. And right now, is Barefoot in the Park is still going on, right?
That's right. Barefoot in the Park goes until July 6th.
Wow, nice. So you got Neil Simon. How is that selling? Is it just, are people going crazy for Neil Simon?
Yes, people are loving it. I think that it's always a good time to laugh, and I think people are really wanting that right now. And it's just a classic, really fun. You get to just escape for a couple hours.
And you directed that one.
I did.
How often do you direct, and how much? That's got to be a ton of work in addition to your other duties, I would assume.
I generally direct 1 or 2 of the shows each season, and it's a lot extra. But I think that's probably my favorite piece of what I do in my work. So I always make sure to be able to do at least one.
A nice perk of the job, no question. What is your favorite show you've ever been in? And what is your favorite show to watch? If you could only pick one. I know that's torture.
I will tell you my favorite show I've ever been in was here at Peninsula Players Theater, which was Wait Until Dark. I know a lot of people know the movie, and there's a play adaptation. And I was able to do that show here, and that's an all-time favorite memory. Favorite show to watch? Boy, that's a tricky one because, every time you see a different production of a show, there's something slightly different about it. And so I don't know that I have one. I know there's people who have a show that, like, no matter where that show is playing, no matter what company is doing it, I'm going to go see that show. I don't think I have that one yet.
Oh, wow. Okay. With me, it's Les Mis. I've seen it like 4 times, and I never, like, start to finish. There's not a weak moment in the whole show. I have the soundtrack memorized. Yeah. I only sing it when I'm alone, thank God. But that's a fair answer because you eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. So good for you. All right, the other show you have coming up. This is another great one, Misery. How does that? I mean, I've seen the film. I've never seen it on stage. How is that? You got a guy laying in bed being terrified by this woman. How does that show? I'm sure it goes over well, but.
Yes, that one is in rehearsal right now, and the rehearsals are very exciting. I think bringing a thriller to the stage, I think, is so exciting because it's something you don't see as often. You're used to comedy, you're used to drama, but actually being scared or having that feeling of suspense in the theater is unique and very exciting.
Then you have Little Women. A great, and the musical, which I think is, that would be fun to see. I've never seen that in a musical form.
Yes, this is a Broadway musical that beautifully adapted the novel into a musical. The music is really beautiful and soaring, and just this expansive. If you're familiar with the novel or any of the many movie adaptations, that there are such a great variety of emotion and big emotions in that story. And this sweeping music just really matches that very beautifully.
Is it hard for you to watch like a film version of maybe one of your favorite plays? Do you still, with such a theater background, do you find yourself not enjoying the film, or can you allow yourself to really still like a movie version of one of your favorite shows?
I really can. I feel like it's such a different medium, even though the story may be the same. There's so many things you can do on film that you can't do in theater, and vice versa, I suppose. But so it almost feels like you're seeing something completely new and different. So for me, I still am able to separate and enjoy that. I know some people, it's hard to have the separation separation, but because I don't have experience creating film or directing film, I don't have a critical eye of, oh, they should have done it that way.
Yeah.
I'm just able to enjoy.
Yeah, I'm going to bring this back to my daughter again. When she was in third grade, she was in, what's the show? Schoolhouse Rock. Such fun music, especially for kids. It was kids theater in Marinette, and she was part of the song 3 is a Magic Number. Great song. I played the actual Broadway version of the song for her, and she went, "Oh!" You really become a fan of what you know and what you do, and it's hard to, that's kind of why I asked you that. Like, it's, then eventually you get into it and you're like, oh, this is really good. But not when you're used to something of your own doing.
Right. Yep. You're right. If it's too close to what you know, it's hard to appreciate the difference. But if it's far enough apart, it's easy to separate.
We've got about 30 seconds left. Steel Magnolias is in the fall. That's another one. Where can people get tickets if they're interested in any of these shows?
You can go to peninsulaplayers.com and learn more about all of the shows, and you can buy tickets right there on the website, or if you prefer call and talk to a person, our phone number's there too.
And they're very helpful. It's a great place and a great experience. Check out Peninsula Players. Linda Fortunato, thank you so much for your time tonight. Have a great break a leg the whole summer.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Bye-bye.
All right. Highly recommended. Check out Peninsula Players. It is a great experience. You're holding the fist up. We're not that desperate to get out of here.
30 seconds.
Can I just go home? I'm really tired.
I can do the show.
Night Light with Conrad. All right, folks. It's time for intermission. When we come back, we're going to read your text, and I have some really fun clips you're not going to want to miss, including one from Larry David that is outstanding. And then Katie Compton from the Mulva Cultural Center in De Pere joins us. It's Pete Schwaba and Night Light on the Civic Media Radio Network.
GBW Denmark, Green Bay's real news and great conversation. A Civic Media radio station.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. President Trump returning from the NATO summit in the Netherlands, where he celebrated the alliance agreeing to something he has long pushed for.
In a very historic milestone this week, the NATO allies committed to dramatically increase their defense spending to that 5% of GDP.
On the summit sidelines, Trump saying he and Ukrainian President Zelensky talked about supplying Ukraine with more anti-missile systems. Kilmar Abrego Garcia to remain in a Tennessee jail for at least a few more days. Attorneys in the federal smuggling case against him sparring over whether prosecutors have the ability to prevent Abrego Garcia's deportation if he's released to await trial. In Philadelphia today, a jury took just a half an hour of deliberations to convict a suburban man of killing a Temple University police officer who had chased him down as a suspect in a series of carjackings. Found guilty of first-degree murder, murder of a law enforcement officer, gun crimes, and of other offenses. This is ABC News.
As Wisconsin is dropping a line in your favorite fishing spot, this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. A man and a woman from Bear Creek were seriously injured in a single-vehicle accident in Maple Creek in Outagamie County Tuesday afternoon. Outagamie County Sheriff's officials say the SUV driven by the 49-year-old man left the road and crashed into a tree. He and a 50-year-old woman were taken to the hospital with severe injuries. Police believe speed and alcohol are the main factors in the crash. Throughout New Wisco, more rain is expected tonight and in waves throughout tomorrow. Meteorologist Brittany Merlot has more.
Totals for both days combined could climb as high as 2 to 4 inches or more in some spots. Is your house in a floodplain? Are you aware of where water commonly collects in your neighborhood and other routes to get to work? And if you live in an area prone to river floods, review your way out so you can leave quickly. And at home, have a professional check valves and plumbing to prevent floodwaters from backing up. Make sure your sub pump is working or have a backup in case it fails. Also a good idea to make sure that your circuit breakers or fuses are clearly marked for each area of your house. And standard homeowners insurance doesn't cover flooding, and most insurance policies take 30 days to go into effect. And remember, always avoid floodwaters. Don't walk or drive through them. It only takes 6 inches of moving water to sweep you off your feet. So turn around, don't drown. And if you were wondering, a car caught in swiftly moving water can be swept away in seconds. And with just 12 inches of water, it can float a small SUV. If there's 18 inches of water, it can carry any car away. And don't forget, here in Wisconsin, those culverts like to wash out, so you don't know if the road's even underneath you still. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot.
I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
The Brewers win the series. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Brewers beating the Pirates this afternoon at AmFam Field 4-2, making his third major league start. Pitcher Jacob Mizorowski threw 5 shutout innings, leading the Crew to the victory over the Pirates. Mizorowski is now 3-0 for the season, allowed just 2 hits, walked 2, struck out 8, and threw 74 pitches. His ERA now 1.13 for the Crew, who took 2 out of 3 in the series and climbed to a season-high 9 games over 500. Mizorowski's 23 years old. He entered the game having given up just 1 hit and 2 runs in 11 innings over his first 2 outings since being promoted from the AAA Nashville team back on June 12th. The Brewers sent 9 batters to the plate in the second inning. After loading the bases with no outs, Milwaukee scored its first run on Joey Ortiz ground-out dribbler back to the pitcher's mound. Eric Haas followed with a bloop double to drive in another, while Christian Yelich capped the scoring with an RBI single. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
As Wisconsin is brats on the grill for a tailgate, this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Waves of showers and thunderstorms with pockets of heavy rain, some breaks in between. Low tonight, low 60s. High tomorrow, upper 60s. Temps climb for the rest of the week and weekend. Mid-70s Friday, 80s for the weekend. Currently at 64 degrees.
John Mino and Jim Schmidt.
On Thursday morning, we'll welcome local artist Naomi Mose and Fox sportscaster Mike Steve Pack.
Plus, Green Bay Fire Chief Matthew Knotts will talk about fireworks safety.
Join us.
Weekday mornings 6 till 9. The Maggie Dawn Show.
Mark Sommerhauser, the communications director for the Wisconsin Policy Forum, analyzing the impacts of the big brutal bill.
That number that you mentioned of nearly $15,000 per person, literally about a quarter of the state's economy.
Basically a quarter of the state's economy coming from the federal government. I'm not hearing from Republicans in the state in their biennial budget planning any sort of contingency plan for major disruption in federal funding coming into the state.
The award-winning Maggie Dawn Show at its new time, weekdays 4 till 6 p.m.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative.
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Light with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who writes checks his mouth can't cash, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are kicking off Act 2 here, also known as Hour Number 2 on Night Light with Pete Schwaba. I am Pete Schwaba. Conrad Krieger is riding shotgun. It is great to have you with us on this Wednesday night. Kind of a gloomy one. We've gotten used to this. Are we in London or Seattle?
You know, it feels like it.
I remember Wisconsin being a little sunnier than this.
Yeah, well, it just was these last, couple days.
2 days in a row is nothing. I don't accept that. I do not accept that. We had a really fun talk with Linda Fortunato in Hour Number 1. You can check it out on the website, civicmedia.us, or on the app. It will be cataloged as a podcast. Very informative stuff. Thanks to Linda for enlightening us, letting us know what is happening with Peninsula Players this summer. They have a great lineup of shows: Barefoot in the Park, Misery, Little Women, the Broadway musical version, Dear Jack, Dear Louise, and Steel Magnolias closes out their season in the fall. And This hour, coming up soon at 7:20, we have Katie Compton from the Mulva Cultural Center in De Pere, a really fascinating and kick-butt place that most of you in Northeast Wisconsin might not even have known about. But we have a world-class museum here, and Katie is going to stop by the studio in just a few minutes and tell us all about it. I'm fascinated by it. I can't wait to go there myself, just checking out the website. I think it's really a treasure that we have here in Northeast Wisconsin. We also talked about our question of the night last hour, which is, what celebrities fall from grace were you most bummed out by? That is our question of the night, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC, or text us on the app or on the stream if you're watching the radio. Great to have you anyway. Just nice to be here. And Conrad, we also discussed Conrad's fear of needles. So I think people are caught up.
I think so,
Did we
too.
catch them up? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where, let's get back to the text because I love this question. It's such a tragic question. We've heard some great names, though, so far. Matt Harper on social media said Diddy.
But he probably was doing it the whole time,
Right, but same with Michael Jackson, or you're right, Kanye had a fall. Like he seemed normal for a while. Pete Rose probably wasn't always betting on baseball. But you're right, Diddy probably was doing it, and that is probably a tragic one, especially to a rock rap artist like Matt Harper.
Yes.
Probably a big influence. Mike Desitel says, actually, it was you, Pete, when I found out you were a Chicago Bears fan. That's, again, not a fall. That was from birth. It was just inherent. There was nothing I could do about that, Mike. I might have changed, I might have switched that around if I had a choice over the last 30 years or since 1985. But I'm as upset with me as you are. Melissa K., Civic Media's own Melissa K. from WFHR in Wisconsin Rapids says, Garrison Keillor. Yeah, what was the... Let's go to the Google on Garrison Keillor because I'm kind of fuzzy on that. I was such a huge fan. He had such a great show, The Prairie Home Companion. My pal Tracy Thorpe texts in, Dave Grohl. Yeah, that's a tough one because that's like a personal fall from grace. Maybe it affected his career on some level. He's such a brilliant musician and rock star. But yeah, he stepped out of bounds there, didn't he? He had a baby with another woman who was not his wife. And took a lot of flack for it. I was surprised, actually. I figured, like, sometimes people just assume rock stars misbehave. But Dave Grohl took a lot of flack for that. People were not happy, as they shouldn't be. But great to hear from you, Tracy. Please don't be a stranger. And we've got a couple more stream comments here. Dave Kunish says, good bumper music. Thank you, Dave. And Kevin Spacey. Oh, that's a great one. I loved Kevin Spacey so much. Loved him in... I'm going to say LA Confidential. I almost had To Live and Die in LA. LA Confidential. He was so good. And he's such a great actor. He was great in Seven. Creepy as all get out. He's creepy in real life, let's be honest. But Kevin Spacey wore a tux to the Oscars. I think it was after The Usual Suspects, which he was also fantastic in. He wore the black pant combo with the white jacket, and I liked it so much. That's the look I went with for my own wedding. Like, I really kind of, in a weird way, looked up to Kevin Spacey. I thought he was cool. But that is a definite fall from grace. Creepy McGee. And he's trying to make a comeback, too, which is weird. Jim Denny says, it didn't affect me, but my grandma... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I got to read. There's a prologue here. Let's see how your old-time memory is. Fatty Arbuckle. Yes, Jim, I know who Fatty Arbuckle is. One of the first Hollywood scandals. It is. And I think Fatty Arbuckle was one of the central characters in the Black Dahlia. It was a Patterson novel or Elmore Leonard. Jim says, it didn't affect me, but my grandma was devastated. Yeah, that was a big one. Fatty Arbuckle was a big star back in the day. And they kind of went into that a little bit in the Perry Mason show, the Perry Mason remake on HBO. I think season 1, Fatty Arbuckle was kind of a character in the show, and he was kind of just this disgusting pig. Going to the text line, Brian from Green Bay says, Charles Manson, fall from grace, such a bright musical talent. I don't know about that, Brian, but that's awesome. Love Brian's sense of humor. Have you ever heard Charles Manson's music, Conrad?
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it's my type of music.
But do you know? I don't even know what he's the writer of many beautiful ditties.
Oh no.
Anna from Madison says, "Hi Pete, welcome back, Conrad." Again, Conrad was not gone. I want to clear the record here, Anna. I was the one. I was in your fair city of Madison, Anna, but it is nice to have Conrad back on the airwaves for sure. Just giving you a hard time. She says, "Hi Pete, welcome back, Conrad. I too was disappointed about Michael Jackson. He had some great songs. I did see the MJ musical in Chicago and liked it. I would probably still go to that. And he didn't just have some great songs. He has a catalog that rivals the Beatles or Springsteen. I mean, he's got tons of songs, tons of great songs."
You think Kanye will have a musical?
Kanye the musical?
I would go to that.
That would be easy to write. Dialogue anyway, because all you have to do is say a bunch of crazy crap. And you've
just
got
show his
soundtrack.
tweets on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. Make his girlfriend walk around naked. I mean, what the heck? From the 715, Will Smith. Always heard he was one of the nicest guys in show business. Not sure what he was thinking that night. And of course, 715 is referring to the Oscar night when he slapped Chris Rock, the host of the Oscars. I agree with you. Yeah, Will Smith. I think sometimes people just descend into weirdness. They have too much. They're too rich. His kids are strange. They obviously grew up way too privileged.
Have you heard his new music that he's trying to come back?
Or Will Smith?
No, Will Smith.
Oh, no, I have not.
It is so awful.
Is it really?
It's when you're driving home, listen to his newest song. You will listen for 2 seconds, say, all right, I've heard enough of that.
It sounds like time well spent. Chris Alfheim, our pal in the 715, says Darren Sharper. Football player?
Yeah.
Viking, though, I thought. Or is it a Packer?
It was a Viking, and
it's like domestic abuse or something like that.
Well, it was alleged rapist.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fall. Thank you, Chris. Hope you're well. Great to hear from you. Barb from Waukesha, she's in the 262, says Bill Cosby. I knew someone was going to say Bill Cosby. I almost said Bill Cosby because I grew up listening to Bill Cosby albums, and he seemed so sane, and Steve Martin seemed so out there when I would listen to Steve Martin albums. And as it turns out, Cosby is the creep, and Steve Martin's like a great guy. I never would have guessed that. Clint Blackburn on the stream, he's in the 608, and Wanakee says Paul Hornung's fall was gambling on NFL games. Thank you, Clint. He was suspended for the 1963 season. Oh, that's a big one.
I didn't know you could sports bet back then.
Well, you could, just not legally, right? Or not place bets from the dugout like Pete Rose was doing. Steve from Florida, that's Conrad's dad, says, even though they both won us a Super Bowl, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers have bummed me out after leaving Green Bay. They will never be a Bart Starr. Yeah, I think Bart Starr's legacy is intact, Steve. That's a great point. Connie from Madison says, Smokey Robinson. Turns out he was bad for a long time. I did not know that, Connie. Never heard that one about Smokey Robinson. Huh. Keep those texts coming, folks, and we will keep reading them. Great answers. We have, all right, I found this. I want to get to this clip because I thought it was really funny. And I kind of agree with what Conan said about Larry David. They were talking, it was on a podcast, right, Con? The one I sent you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is, the clip speaks for itself. It's classic Larry David, and it's great Conan, too. Here it is.
People ask me all the time, Larry David, is he exactly like he is on Curb Your Enthusiasm? And I say, yes, he is. You would claim that you're not quite that guy, but the times I've hung out with you at parties, I feel there might as well be a camera recording this for HBO.
You know, I take that as a tremendous compliment.
Yes,
because I got to tell you something. I love that guy. That guy. A couple of weeks ago, I got invited to a dinner party. 5-10 years ago, I would have gone, okay, sounds good. What's the address? And now, this time I said, who's coming?
Oh.
Yeah. Did not go over well.
The person was offended?
The person seemed to have been a little offended. And I wound up not going.
Want to come to a dinner party tonight?
Tonight?
Yeah.
Who else is going to be there?
Yeah, you don't need to know.
Why not?
Because it's not done. That's why not.
What do you mean it's not done? What's not done?
It's a social convention that people don't ask who's going to be there at the dinner party.
But by the way, as long as we're on the subject, is it such a terrible question to ask who's going to? Why is that a secret? I don't understand the big secret. You can't say who's going. Why?
I mean, it's so weird how I've done an about face on this, because I had a friend who used to always do that. You'd call and say, or no, he would actually go out of his way to call you, and he'd say, hey, what are you doing Friday? And I'd be like, nothing. You want to hang out? He's, yeah, but I got to see about this other thing first. But he would have like 2 or 3 sets of plans on standby, and there was always a hierarchy. Oh, Mark Maron might be at this party. I'm going to go to that first, but if he's not there, I'd rather hang out with, then I'd like to hang out with you because we'll laugh together. And then you don't know what he had lined up, but it was kind of like that. And I will admit, if I get invited to something now, I don't know if it says you get older or what, but your time becomes more valuable. And the last thing you want to do is sit there and listen to some annoying blabbermouth who corners you at a party. I'm sorry. I'm always a nice guy to people, but if someone's just an idiot, I don't want to talk to them for that long. I'll still be nice. Am I out on a limb here or what?
Well, at that point, you just use the I got to run to the bathroom excuse, or the I gotta refresh my drink.
I'm about to have an accident,
and then just never return back to that area.
Okay, thank you. So it's not just me.
No,
I mean you have to. Time is valuable.
Yeah,
so I totally identify with that Larry David clip, and I felt kind of bad for but it is different. What my friend used to do, he would call you and try to get you to do something, but kind of half bail. I don't know. It's just weird.
It was like you're a third option.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Or second or first.
I'll take second.
You never know which one you are.
I have no ego. All right, when we come back, folks, Katie Compton from the Mulva Cultural Center here in De Pere, Wisconsin. A beautiful new, not that new, but new facility. We'll talk to her coming up next on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
The talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
Hey, it's Amanda, and we all know that Northeast Wisconsin has some of the best events around, but trying to find them all can be tricky. So here at WGBW, we decided to do the work for you. Prevent boredom on any night by going to WGBW.fm and click events in the top right corner. You'll never have to spend forever scrolling to find out what's going on in your area. And if you got an event to share, hit us up by emailing info@WGBW.fm. We can work together to have real news and great conversation while giving you the 411 on what's happening in New Wisco.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. For the last few months, Governor Tony Evers has said repeatedly that he would make a decision about whether or not to run for a third term after the state budget process is completed. In a recent opinion column at the recombobulation area, I made the argument that the decision that Evers should make should be to not seek a third term as Wisconsin's governor. This argument is not one of ideological differences or policy disagreements. Tony Evers has been a good governor and has served the state well. This more has to do with Evers' age. He'll be 75 years old in November 2026, and about how the Democratic Party has had a massive, inescapable problem in its unwillingness to pass the torch to the next generation. Tony Evers needs to do what so many other Democrats have struggled so mightily to do and step aside when the time is right. And after Joe Biden's catastrophic 2024, this is a conversation we need to be having, and we need to be having it now. Democrats can't keep repeating the same mistakes over and over. It's time to do things differently.
Find all of Dan's work at the recombobulation area. The Todd Albaugh Show.
The Joint Finance Committee was leaked that they intend to cut $87 million from the UW system budget. And so we put this out on our socials last night, and today the Joint Finance Committee decided to pull that from the agenda. Because apparently, from what I'm told, Republican legislators got a lot of calls. When the truth is disseminated and people react, results can happen.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Being blind doesn't look how others may think. Retinitis pigmentosa aimed to overwhelm my family.
It tried to cut me down. I know where to find support.
Learn more at fightingblindness.org, a public service message from the Foundation
Nightlight on a Wednesday night, folks. I hope you are having a wonderful evening on a gloomy night, at least here in Northeast Wisconsin. Whatever part of Wisconsin you're in, I hope the sun is shining and it is 70 degrees. If not outside, in your hearts, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a lot of fun stuff still to cover coming up on the show. And our question of the night, if you still want to get in on the action, is what celebrities fall from grace were you most bummed out by? We've got some great answers, and I expect more will be rolling in throughout the course of the show. Right now, it is my pleasure to welcome from the Mulva Cultural Center right here in Northeast Wisconsin, De Pere more specifically, marketing director Katie Compton, who joins me in the studio. Hi, Katie.
Hi, how are you?
You are the marketing director, but you had a lot of titles. I looked you up on LinkedIn, then I went to the website. I don't know if you're El Presidente or the CEO or whatever, but I know you're important, and you are putting your stamp on this gorgeous facility.
Yeah. Our title, titles change, things change. I usually just tell people I'm the marketing person. So I'm the one that goes out and talks about us and hypes us up. And if it's got the logo on it, then I'm usually responsible for making sure it's correct.
That's perfect. All right, we'll go with that. When I was a kid, people would just say, "This is Pete Schwaba. He's our boy for the week." I would sweep floors, and I was a chimney sweep, and that's not even my childhood. I'm going back way too far.
This was very dramatic.
It was dramatic, right? I was trying to do a scene there, and it just kind of tapered off before it got started. So it's great to meet you. Thank you for coming in. And you spell your name the same way my daughter spells her name.
Oh.
And that must have been a tough decision because, let's be honest, you've got, with all the options out there for Katie, you settled on K-A-T-Y.
I will tell you that my parents settled on that. So my joke is always that my parents misspelled it the first time, and I just keep misspelling it. So it's been that my entire life. And now I'm probably a little bit older than your daughter. But then, back in the day, like nobody spelled it besides IE. And so it has been misspelled a lot in my life.
Do you wish it was IE? Or did you?
No, not really.
Okay.
It doesn't even bother me if people write IE because I'm like, okay, you still have the gist of it.
Yeah.
But my full name is Kathleen. And so if you see K-A-T-Y and you assume I'm missing the H and they call you Kathy, then I'm like, ooh, you're not reading it right. But
that's interesting.
Other than that, I've gotten like the I, I've gotten, I think there was one that was K-A-T-E-Y, they're trying. So you're like, I get it. You're trying.
Some people go too far.
Yeah.
K-A-T, the number 7, the letter E. It just doesn't
Whatever
make any sense.
vowel or sound they want to put in there. That's fine.
I agree. And the name Katie is a happy name. It's like you don't really meet too many depressed people.
I think so. And, it goes really well with my last name. I've been told that, Katie Compton. It just kind of flows. And so
very easy to say.
I'm a lucky person.
You are. And we're lucky to have you here. Are you a Green Bay native or Wisconsin native?
I'm a Wisconsin native. I'm not a Green Bay native.
All right. Conrad, settle down. She's still a nice person.
Yeah. I'm not a Green Bay native either.
I will tell you that living in the area, I've been around the area for about 15 years. I do get asked that a lot, but people have stopped asking me where I went to high school. And that was super odd for me. When I first moved here, they'd be like, where did you go to high school? And I'd be like, I've been out for over a decade. Like why are we?
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
But I get it. Like people growing up here, there's an East-West thing and there's all these things. So I understand that. But it was strange being a transplant and being asked that.
Yeah, I would assume it would be. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Fond du Lac.
Fond du Lac.
So I graduated from Goodrich High School, which is now Fond du Lac High School.
You still told me where you went to high school.
I did because I figured that was the next question. I just wanted to lead in and head you off. So yeah.
That's like a suburb of Oshkosh, right?
I don't know that they would love you calling it that.
That's the only city I have no listeners in is Fond du Lac, so I don't care. I will offend till the live long day. No, I'm kidding. I love Fond du Lac.
The one person is turning off their radio like, well, forget him.
He's dead to me. No, I love Fond du Lac because when we drove up to our cottage, my grandma's cottage when I was a kid, we would stop at Shriner's restaurant.
Oh, yes.
And I know that is that a Quick Trip now?
I go back about once a year for a family reunion. I don't go in a ton, but yeah, I think it's gone.
It is. It's a quick trip.
Yep. Oh, see, and that makes you sad when you go back to the town you grew up in and you see.
It is.
You know what? And that's evolution. Like I get it, but you're still.
I guess so.
You lose some of those fun memories.
So, all right, Fond du Lac. You say you get back there once a year.
Yeah, about once a year.
It's not like you have to fly there. I mean,
I
it's
know.
only like an hour away, right?
Well, my parents don't live there anymore, and neither do my siblings. One lives kind of close, but yeah, I don't know.
All right.
And it's a great town. I'm nothing against Fond du Lac. I enjoyed growing up there. Lakeside Park is beautiful. I actually graduated from Marion, so
college?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no kidding.
So great town, loved it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't go back very often.
Well, their loss is De Pere.
I guess so.
Gain. Tell us all about the Multicultural Center, because I got to be honest, I did not know much about it until I knew you were coming on the show, and I went to the website, and I'm like, this is in Northeast Wisconsin? It's so cool. Tell us everything.
It's like 15 minutes from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we get that a lot. Part of the reason is that we only opened in December of 2023.
Okay.
And so we're still kind of getting out into the area, getting out into everybody's hearts and minds.
Yeah.
So what we like to say is that our purpose is to inspire intellectual curiosity, and we do that through exhibits. We do it through films. We have programs. We actually have a full-service restaurant in there, so we do it through cuisine. And so we like to bring things into the area or offer things to the community that just make you curious, right?
Yeah.
So we have different exhibits and films on different topics, and we do art, we do history, we have science. We just kind of, it's hard to put us into a box, which is great, which is fantastic.
Are you sure the climate is right in America today for intellectual curiosity? And
I hope so. I think the climate is always right for intellectual curiosity, because I think, honestly, you should always be curious.
You should. And I make that joke, but I think a lot of people, whether like you disagreed with someone, there's no one that wouldn't look at your website and go, that looks really cool.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think we have to make museum goers out of everybody, and through great exhibits and films, like you said. Katie Compton is my guest. She is the marketing director at the Multicultural Center here in Northeast Wisconsin in De Pere. We're coming right back with Katie, and we'll have a lot more. We're going to talk about some of their exhibits and films. They have a movie. They have a screen that only two other cities have.
Yes.
In all of America. We'll talk
Yes.
about that too. It's all coming up next on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Just another night is all that it takes to understand the difference between lovers and fake. So baby, I talk to you in the night, in your dream of love so true.
From Hobart to Bay Settlement, 97.9 WGBW. Download the Civic Media app in the Google Play or Apple App Store and take us everywhere. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. President Trump returning from the NATO summit in the Netherlands, where he celebrated the alliance agreeing to something he has long pushed for.
In a very historic milestone this week, the NATO allies committed to dramatically increase their defense spending to that 5% of GDP.
On the summit sidelines, Trump saying he and Ukrainian President Zelensky talked about supplying Ukraine with more anti-missile systems. Kilmar Abrego Garcia to remain in a Tennessee jail for at least a few more days. Attorneys in the federal smuggling case against him sparring over whether prosecutors have the ability to prevent Abrego Garcia's deportation if he's released to await trial. In Philadelphia today, a jury took just a half an hour of deliberations to convict a suburban man of killing a Temple University police officer who had chased him down as a suspect in a series of carjackings. Found guilty of first-degree murder, murder of a law enforcement officer, gun crimes, and of other offenses. This is ABC News.
The Brewers win another series. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball, the Brewers beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 4-2 at American Family Field, making his third major league start. Brewers right-hander Jacob Mizorowski threw 5 shutout innings. The Miz is 3-0 now, allowing just 2 hits, walked 2, struck out 8, and threw 74 pitches, lowering his ERA to 1.13. The Brewers took 2 out of 3 in the series, climbed to a season-high 9 games over 500. The Brewers sending 9 batters to the plate in the second inning after loading the bases with no outs. Milwaukee scored its first run on Joey Ortiz ground-out dribbler back to the pitcher, and Christian Yelich capped the scoring with an RBI single. Trevor McGill earning his 18th save of the season for the Brewers. Basketball, the NBA draft is underway. As expected, the Dallas Mavericks selecting Cooper Flagg from Michigan with the first overall pick. The Bucks won't be on the clock until tomorrow night with a pick in the second round, 47th overall. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Dolly Parton does not tour anymore. She wrapped up what was to be her final tour, called Pure and Simple, in 2016. Having said that, the showbiz icon has announced a 6-show run at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. Parton will start what's called a mini residency called Dolly Live in Las Vegas, December 4th through the 13th. Parton is calling the shows hit-driven, so you can expect her to perform all her and your faves. If you're in the mood for some live entertainment and good feels, there are still several Pride Fests around the state you can check out. The Open Door Pride Festival takes place in Sturgeon Bay, June 28th. Sheboygan Pride Fest also happens Saturday, June 28th. Oshkosh Pride takes place June 29th. Recent Nightlight guest Cat Rhapsody and their band Cat and the Hurricane will be rocking Sheboygan and Oshkosh if you happen to attend. And if you're in Madison, check out the Pride Picnic on June 25th at Library Mall. All are welcome, so party safely, everyone, and have a great time. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Local news, weather, and sports on air and streaming on the Civic Media app. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Waves of showers and thunderstorms with pockets of heavy rain, some breaks in between. Low tonight, low 60s. High tomorrow, upper 60s. Temps climb for the rest of the week and weekend. Mid 70s Friday, 80s for the weekend. Currently at 62 degrees.
Mino and the Mayor.
Show him the picture he showed me today in the striped little short shorts.
No, it was the
They
belly.
would be banned
I
now.
know. No, John.
Too much skin.
Hubba, hubba, hubba.
Man, dig that crazy chick.
Oh, wear short shorts.
We wear short
Oh, that's funny. Wow.
Mino and the Mayor, weekday mornings 6 till 9. The Todd Albaugh Show.
Joe here in Madison on WMDX about University of Wisconsin system. The legislature looking at cutting $87 million of that.
First off, you deserve incredible kudos for bringing this issue forward.
You're too kind. Thank you.
Led the way. And you've been keeping at this question of the two-year campuses and what does the system mean throughout the time that you've been on radio. And we really appreciate it.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show.
Welcome back. You've got the Civic Media Radio Network, folks. This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. I am Pete Schwaba. It is great to have you with me on this Wednesday night. And we talked a little bit about summer theater in Door County with the Peninsula Players. Now we are talking about this really cool addition to the Northeast Wisconsin community, the Multicultural Center in De Pere. The marketing director, Katie Compton, has joined me in studio. All right, Katie, Katy. I have to ask you, what you have these great exhibits. Let's start with the exhibits first.
Yeah.
I love the spy one. Tell me about the License to Spy exhibit. That
Yeah.
sounds so cool.
So right now we actually have two at once. So one is the License to Spy one, and that one, I don't want to be biased, but I think it might be cooler than the other. I don't know. They're both really cool, though. I should just say that.
You could be a little biased.
So when you come in, you get like your mission, which is that somebody stole one of the most powerful computer chips in the world. You get 6 suspects, these spies, and you have to figure out basically who's the double agent and who stole the microchip. Or the computer chip.
Wow.
So you go around to these stations, and each one kind of does different science or different skills that people would use in espionage. There's one, it shows you like safe cracking is one of them. One of them that we have a whole code room.
I'd love to be
where
a
you
safe
can,
cracker.
I don't like. I'm not gonna lie. I had a team member tell me the trick to doing it because I was trying to do it. I was like, I can't get it, and they're like, "Oh, you just do it this way." And I'm
That's
like,
a little scary. You got someone on the team that knows how to do it.
I know. Well, they'd already played with it. We have a little laser room that has these little lasers that you can kind of crawl through, and if you hit it, a little alarm goes off, like like a cat burglar.
Yeah.
So, I think it's really cool.
This is kind of an embarrassing question I'm about to ask, but you're sitting there telling me all this stuff about the License to Spy exhibit, and I assumed it was for kids, but everything you just said, every adult I know would probably love to do that. Can adults do it too?
Absolutely, 100%.
That's so great.
we say it's family friendly.
Yeah.
So kids come in and do it, but I think I've watched some families that come in, and I think that sometimes the adults are enjoying it more. Like the kids might get distracted but the adults want to do all the things. And then you go through it, and then at the end of the exhibit, there's a debriefing room, and you figure out, like they tell you if you're right or not.
I love it. And are those temporary, or is that like a all the time exhibit?
Yeah, so our exhibits are traveling exhibits. So they're here. These are here through I think September 7th.
Oh, great.
And then we switch out. So we clean out the exhibit and then we start a new one, and the next one's going to be Life in Space.
All right, so tell us about Life in Space, because that looked fascinating too.
So Life in Space looks pretty cool. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
So it's going to have artifacts. There should be a moon rock in it, like a lunar rover. It's going to have these artifacts from space flight.
Are these real? Like, are these actual?
It is a real moon rock. I'm not 100% sure if the lunar rover is correct, but the moon rock is real.
Okay.
And then it has a virtual reality International Space Station. So at the beginning of it, you'll get the goggles, and you can go through, and it'll be like you're going through the International Space Station, and you'll go through, and then at the end, you kind of realize you're back on Earth.
How big is this facility?
We are total. We're 77,000 square feet. Our exhibit hall is 10,000 square feet.
Oh my gosh, 77,000 square feet. I don't think Marinette is that big. That's a huge facility.
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's we got a little bit of space. Yeah.
Well, you must be like, with all the stuff you have here as a marketing director, is it easy to market? Because people love this stuff.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. I would say it isn't, because some of this is different markets, right? I said we had a full service restaurant, so say we're on Broadway. So that I try to get to a little bit kind of different group of people than maybe Licensed to Spy. And then our films as well. So I try to kind of reach people where they are. So that can be a little bit complicated. But as a marketing person, like, I'm never out of things to talk about.
I would imagine.
I'm never out of things, to hype, and there's always something new coming.
So are you hoping to get to the point where, like you said, you have this full service restaurant? Do you want people just to go dine?
Absolutely.
The Volvo Culture, even if they aren't
Absolutely. They do it now. Yeah. So we do Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night dinner. And people will just come in for dinner and leave. Yeah.
What kind of, is it like reservations, table for two this way, or is it just go in and it's here, line up people, there's the buffet?
It is not a buffet.
Okay,
no. It is a sit down plated, menu type restaurant. We do Sunday brunch, and that's pretty popular. So that one, if you're going to come, you might want a reservation, just so you know that you're going to have seats. But everything else we can usually take a walk in. But a reservation is always good, especially at night, if you want to be sure. We also do lunch, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday as well.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You like the food? Good food?
I do like the food. I do like the food. We have some sweet potato tater tots that people just rave about.
You just got to call them sweet potato tots.
That's probably what they call them in the restaurant. I don't know.
I got a lot of ideas for you.
I suppose not tater. It'd be sweet potato tot, right? That would cut it out.
Be sweet potato tot.
Yeah, but we have, fish on Fridays. We have salmon. Yeah.
Wow. I've got a lot of good ideas. I'm just saying.
Write them down.
Okay.
I will take them.
Who do I submit them to? Just directly to you?
I love feedback. You always, that's how you get all the great ideas.
Feedback? I want you to bring me on as a partner. Come on, we can crush this thing. So you've been here almost 2 years, or the museum has been here almost 2 years.
Yep, about a year and a half.
Are people finding it? Are they rolling in? Like, I would imagine just your exhibits, and we'll talk about the movie screen next, but is it becoming more and more popular?
It's been a little bit of a slow burn. It is becoming more and more popular because I think there's a couple of reasons. If you've seen our building or you've seen a picture of our building, it's beautiful. Like, it's a gorgeous building. And I think there is some thought that you either have to pay to get in or you're not welcome or something like that, which none of that is true. Like, you can come into the building for free. You can head to the restaurant. We always have a free atrium exhibit. You could go on the patio, read a book, and enjoy the weather. All of that's free. So I think that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think people are a little intimidated to come in, but I think they also are just learning all the things we have. And then they're feeling okay, like, okay, I can just go to the restaurant and leave, or I can just go to a film and leave. Like, it isn't just the exhibits. We have a lot of pieces.
I would think, too, once they go there and start telling their friends, it probably just takes a while because you have so many great. Let's talk about. Well, let's finish with the exhibits. Right now, you also have an Explore Your World exhibit.
Yep. So that one is about kind of navigation and maps. So that one, again, has little, stations that they go to. And we've got like a station where you escape the building. So you look at a map and you have to find your way out of a building. So it's like on fire or something, So you have to memorize the map. It shows how sonar works. So you can stack up different blocks, or people can stand there and it shows you how a sonar works.
Oh, cool.
We have a topographic table where you can build up like the rubber pieces, and it shows you how they measure topography.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
My guest is Katie Compton. She is the marketing director of the Malva Cultural Center here. It's right here in De Pere, folks. You have to check it out. All right, this is my favorite thing. I have a bit of a movie background. I love it's a Samsung Onyx screen, if I recall correctly, and there's only 2 of them.
Yes.
In the rest of the United States. And city's much bigger than Green Bay. I mean, this is really cool that we have this. Please tell us how you got it and what it does.
I don't know how we got it. It was there before I was. So, but yeah, there's one in Houston. There's one in LA. It is, it's hard to describe. And I think it's because I probably don't know the engineering and science behind it. It is not a projection-based system. So it's not that you go in and it's projected on a screen. It's large, and it's actually built out of different squares, and each of those squares shows part of the picture. But it has like blacker blacks and truer colors than you would find on your television, or you would find, on a projection-based system. So when you watch something, it just, honestly, it looks crystal clear and amazing.
That's real. And you show great movies there too. Not just like you have some great documentaries, it looks like, but you also show films like Austin Powers and Bourne Identity.
Yeah. So to go with the spy exhibit, we had James Bond, we had Bourne movies, we had Austin Powers. Before that, we had Unofficial Galaxies, which was Star Wars memorabilia. So we showed Star Wars, but it's kind of all over the board. So we've had Disney movies. We've had, Westerns, we've had musicals. It's really kind of all over. And honestly, it's $5 to get into a movie, or if you get a membership, they're pretty much all covered with membership unless we have a special film come in.
So Explore Your World goes till September 7th. And it's described, it says, be captivated and surprised in the quest to explore cities, oceans, and the night sky. Do you have a cool display of all that kind of stuff too?
We do. So there's a large boat in the middle of the exhibit, and it shows you kind of the night sky and how people would have navigated, before GPS and before maps. So it shows you like star formations and how you would have read that. And there's a station where you can kind of build the city and kind of map it out.
Huh.
Yeah, it's hands-on, and it's a lot of learning, which is great, and it's a lot of fun. We recommend that if you're going to come, you want at least an hour for each exhibit to do them fully, if not more, depending how deep you get into them.
Okay, and it is free to get into the museum, folks, but the exhibits cost money, but not exorbitant. They're very reasonable.
Yes, but on July 4th, we're actually having a free day.
I saw that.
So from 10 to 3, exhibits and films are going to be free.
Are you going to be packed that day? Is that
I hope so.
Yeah.
We weren't open on July 4th last year. I think that if it rains, we'll be packed because people won't want to be outside. But
right.
If you are interested and you're not sure you want to pay, to get in and check it out, check out the exhibit, this is the day to do it.
Yeah. So everybody benefits from visiting museums.
Yes.
You just have to get them there. So how do you, as the marketing director, how do you get non-museum people to become museum people? Is that your challenge?
That is a really interesting question. Yeah. I don't know that I go at it that way. I think I go at it like, look at all the interesting things that we're doing. Because I think that if you've got that blockage, like you don't want to go to a museum, I don't know how I would get around that. But I got to tell you that museums are pretty cool all around. Like if you go to the Neville, if you go to the Payne, like they have wonderful things all the time. So I think that if you're not a museum person, you're missing out a little bit.
Yeah.
But when you're bringing in exhibits, like all those places are doing and we're doing, like you're seeing something that you can't necessarily see anywhere else.
Great answer.
And it, expands your mind a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. What did you think about that guy that broke the chair in Verona? I mean, what a dunce, right? Come on.
I was kind of embarrassed for him because I was thinking, first of all, why would you do the selfie or whatever, trying to squat on the chair anyways? Because just by looking at it, I'm like, that chair is worth more than probably everything I own, right? Wasn't it Swarovski crystals or something? Like, right. So why would you even want to get close enough to touch it? But why? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Speechless, I guess, is what I was.
Only thing that would make me hesitant to go into a museum is to do something stupid like that and have it go viral. Or I'd be the guy to knock over the dinosaur bones at the Field Museum or something.
You just lean on them accidentally and everything
looking
topples.
at my phone, look at this idiot, and a video goes worldwide. Do you have other museums you've been to around the world? Like, do you look to other places for guidance or just that you've gone to for pleasure?
Yeah, I love museums. So I have been to a lot of museums. I actually was just in France not that long ago and was at the Louvre and kind of checked that out. But anytime I travel, I want to check out a museum. And a lot of them, they're usually not expensive. And a lot of them are sometimes even free. But yeah, if there's an art museum in the area or a history museum, I mean, why not go to them? I know Chicago's got brilliant museums.
Amazing,
Milwaukee's got brilliant museums. I mean, Green Bay, we've got how many museums? I mean, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
Like,
I haven't been. I went to the Milwaukee Public Museum a couple of years ago, and I mean, that's a treasure too. But now with what we have in Green Bay here, you really don't have to. And we got a zoo. I mean,
the
these
zoo
are
is
really
great.
This area is really kind of kicking butt.
In the botanical garden, like we
Yeah.
have a lot of wonderful things in the area. We really do.
When we come back, I'm going to ask Katie with a Katy what she watches on TV. And she can, and maybe a favorite celebrity she has that's fallen from grace. And she'll help me wrap this up, and we'll learn more about the Malva Cultural Center here in De Pere, Wisconsin. You got to check it out, folks. It's Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite. Katie Compton in the studio on the Civic Media Radio Network.
As Wisconsin is summer weekends being spent on the lake, this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Appleton Cigar Company on College Avenue has been serving the community for over 25 years. If you are a cigar aficionado looking for a one-of-a-kind experience, you need to check out Appleton Cigar, which boasts the largest selection of cigars north of Milwaukee with over 706 cigars to choose from in a walk-in humidor. The Cigar Lounge offers an impressive variety of spirits and cocktails that pair perfectly with a premium cigar. For the full experience, come to Appleton Cigar at 415 College Ave, Monday through Saturday, 11:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. For more information, go to appletoncigar.com.
Today's job market is full of demand for skilled trade workers. Electricians, welders, mechanics, these and other trades are the backbone of every community. They're also a huge part in making sure the Army National Guard is always fulfilling its mission of service to our country and communities. Soldiers train to keep the power flowing, engines running, and supplies moving. The skilled trades these soldiers perform are the same ones needed in today's civilian workforce. Army National Guard soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. With options from plumber to helicopter mechanic and everything in between, soldiers are able to select the trades that best fit their lives. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession and serve your community and country by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75 years, the MDA community has pushed the science,
shifted the narrative, and established the field of neuromuscular medicine.
And until that day when this is all a thing of the past,
you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Indy Dattagupta, he is with the Center for Law and Social Policy.
The Trump administration's agenda is reducing economic growth. The programs that they're proposing cutting, like Medicaid and SNAP, especially for kids, actually more than pay for themselves. So we are really looking at a tough long-term economic outlook entirely created by the current policymakers.
The award-winning Maggie Dawn Show at its new time, weekdays 4 till 6 p.m. The Todd Albaugh Show.
The Joint Finance Committee was leaked that they intend to cut $87 million from the UW system budget. And so we put this out on our socials last night, and today the Joint Finance Committee decided to pull that from the agenda. Because apparently, from what I'm told, Republican legislators got a lot of calls. When the truth is disseminated and people react, results can happen.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station
back, folks. I'm Pete Schwaba. Great to have you with me here on Night Light tonight. Tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, on the show, we've got another outstanding lineup for you. My buddy, comedian, Milwaukee native Tom Clark will be here. Not in person. He lives far away, but he's going to make the popcorn pick of the week at 6:35. And then filmmaker Grace Painter. What do you think, Conrad? Koziel? How would you?
I'll go
Katie,
with that.
how would you say that name?
Yeah, I would go with that.
Koziel?
Koziel.
Grace Painter Koziel will be here. She is the founder of Ruby Red Films. And I did not do my due diligence. I should have asked her name, but I was busy the last couple of days. But I will have this straightened out, Grace. If you're listening, by the time you are on the show tomorrow night, we will know how to say your last name. And I'm very excited to talk to Grace about some of the stuff she's doing at Ruby Red Films. And as mentioned, we will make the popcorn pick of the week. Our question of the night, you've got just about a minute to get that in, is what celebrities fall from grace most bummed you out? I don't even know if that's grammatically correct, but that's what the question is. And we've got a text here from Steady Eddie. Pete, Brett Lorenzo Favre. Is that his name, Conrad?
I guess so.
Sure, why not? I love the way he played Packer football with joy and enthusiasm. I am more disappointed than angry with Favre's apparent unethical behavior. For me, it is a sad fall from grace. That it is, Steady Eddie. Steady Eddie continues, I don't want to make any excuses for Brett Favre, but sometimes I wonder if all the head trauma he suffered playing football could have had anything to do with his poor thinking and bad judgment. Maybe.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're making excuses for him, Steadfast Edward.
Yeah, I think it depends maybe when in his career you're talking about. Early,
Well,
later?
Yeah, and I think he's talking about the charity thing.
Okay.
I don't know if you can blame that on a head injury. Like, does he do other unethical things, or does it only involve him getting money from them?
I think you can put a little on it, but not all of it, you know? Because he probably does have some head trauma.
Listen, I sprained my ankle in 1987, and I've never stolen a penny from anyone.
That's a little different, I think.
Okay. Katie Compton is here, folks. We've got Katie for a few more minutes here. She's the the marketing director of the Malva Cultural Center. This is so cool that we have this here. I'm glad we met, and I'm glad I discovered this cultural center that we have here in the Green Bay area. You are, all right, so tell us what excites you most. If someone was going to go to the Malva Cultural Center, what would you tell them to start with?
Oh, my goodness. This put me on the spot, huh? Right
no,
now,
it's not. You're the marketing director,
I know, but I
Kate.
can't have favorites.
I bet
It's like
you could
having
do this in your sleep.
having a favorite kid,
Oh,
right?
that's
You can't
fair.
do it. Right now we have an atrium exhibit, so our atrium exhibits are free, and it's called Art of the Aviary. And one of the reasons I love it is that I'm also a little bit of an artist, so I love any kind of art. But it's all local artists, so it's the Green Bay Art Colony, which is all women art colony. It's been around for over 100 years, and they put this show together. And so I think when you walk through and you see the beautiful art pieces and you know that it's somebody local that made it, I don't know, it's kind of cool.
That is really cool.
Right now it's kind of, I guess, my top one. But it also just opened like last week, so it is still really new. So
yeah, but that's a great answer. I mean, and that's free.
It is free. Those are, yeah.
Walk in there, start with the atrium, which is always free.
Yep.
Get some lunch at the restaurant.
Decide if you want to see a film or decide if you want to go upstairs to the exhibit.
Yeah, that's a great way to start. All right, what are you, when you're done at Malva, how do you shorten that? What do you say?
I don't. I always, the center,
The
I guess.
MCC?
When I'm shortening it, sometimes we do MCC internally, but usually externally, it would be the center. So when I'm done at the center.
How about, Conrad, let's think of something.
The Malves?
No.
See,
we'll workshop.
I'm the idea guy of the two of us. I think that's obvious. What are you watching on TV? What do you go home and kick your feet up to and put on the television?
So, like, honestly, lately,
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of The Simpsons on Disney.
Oh, I love this girl. You are welcome here anytime.
The news and everything. It's like sometimes it's so heavy, but Oh no! I actually watched it when I was eating dinner before I came. I watched.
That is so great.
So,
and what a great comfort, right? I mean, it's just to have on in the background. It's like
yes.
So, have you been watching it since its inception?
On and off.
You're probably not even old enough to.
Oh yeah, I am. It came on when I was a kid initially,
Okay.
but on and off. But now since they're all on Disney Plus, you can kind of just start and keep going.
It's so great.
And it's going to take you how long to repeat again?
What's your favorite era of the show? Like, to me, it's the first 6 seasons.
Okay.
But it's still funny. Like when
Yeah.
I tune in now, I still really get a kick
Yeah.
out of it.
What I think I enjoy now that I've watched it more is that when you're watching the older ones, everybody's still the same age, right? And so
Yeah.
like Grandpa Simpson was in like World War II, and then he was in like Korea or Vietnam. like they're always making it, kind of pushing it up, and
Right.
so sometimes they make fun of it in the show, and he'll be like, well, whatever war I was in, and the one I was just watching, like the principal was in Vietnam, and now so it keeps moving up, right? So Bart's been 10 for 40
Yeah.
years, and so I think that's kind of funny that they kind of tongue in cheek make fun of themselves.
Who's your favorite character?
I like the baby Maggie. She doesn't talk, but she's always got a little attitude. I don't know. I like
Even though she's only got a pacifier,
yeah,
somehow
yeah.
she still conveys attitude.
right. She just kind of she's got a little sass, I guess. I don't know.
Conrad, in honor of animation, I think you know what song I want to close with. It's not
Okay,
The
sounds
Simpsons,
good.
but, you see, I'm a Homer guy, but I also like Lisa. Lisa Simpson is smart and cute and funny. And I'm talking about a cartoon character. I realize that, but we're number 1. Oh no, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Katie, this has been fun. Thank you so much. We'll do this
Anytime.
again. All right, anytime.
Anytime.
And don't be afraid to leave a couple of free passes to the Mulva Center on your way out. I can't do that.
Just come in and visit me. We'll do a tour.
I'm happy
We'll do
to
the
come
whole
in
thing.
and pay full price.
We'll do the whole
and
thing.
I think it's a great thing we have here in Green Bay. Keep up the great work and come back soon, please.
Yeah,
all right.
excellent.
Katie Compton, ladies and gentlemen, my thanks to Linda Fortunato and all your texts and calls. On behalf of the lovable producer Conrad, I'm Pete Schwaba saying good night, Wisconsin.
Fire breath and save the maidens there. So what would Brian Boitano do if he were here today? I'm sure he'd kick an ass or two. That's what Brian Boitano do. I want this speech out of me. It has stunted my vocabulary. And I just want my mom to stop fighting everyone. For Wendy, I'll be an activist too. 'Cause that's what Brian Boitano do.